Welcome back to the Reading Corner here on Dreamers Defy. We are currently reading Vengeful by AJ Parnell. Today we are on chapter 8. And if you've just joining us, I would suggest that you go back to the introduction video, watch from there, catch up. We'll keep reading and you can catch up and we will join you wherever you are. If, however, you just want to stick around and read chapter 8 with us today, that is good too. In the description is a link to this book on Amazon if you would like to get it and read along with us. But like I said, today we are on chapter 8. The story is really kind of picking up now. And let's get started, shall we? Chapter 8, Nowhere Land. Showing her client the door, Abigail gave the middle-aged woman an encouraging pat on the back before handing her off to Vera. The specific patient had been coming to her for over a year now and still exhibited no signs of progress. Frustrating as it may be, the lady only wanted to relive the same 5 events over and over again, refusing to move past them. Sad to say, but this was what the path many at the facility took. Instead of moving past their problems, they use them as an excuse for not reaching their potential. Or worse yet, they use them as a reason to take no responsibility whatsoever for their current situation. Still, her client's parents were rich and did not seem to mind spending a small fortune on their grown child's treatment. Today, more than ever, Abigail found these cases to be a godsend because no matter how hard she tried, she could not keep herself from zoning out during their sessions. A faint knock sounded at the door. Looking at her watch, Abigail saw that she had another 30 minutes before her next appointment arrived. The door cracked open as Kitch peeked inside. "May I have a moment?" Abigail motioned him to sit down. "Of course, you're my boss." Tense, Kitch held his ground. "I've just spoken with the police about the break-in." "And?" Dabbing at his brow, he remained halfway behind the door. "There haven't been any leads and nothing has been recovered." "What? How can that be? We have a lock on every door and enough cameras in this place that no one should be able to get in or out of here without being seen." According to Detective Martinez, there was a glitch in the footage, one that they have not been able to rectify. Kitch cast a nervous glance behind him and lowered his voice. "Are you absolutely sure our records were not compromised?" Abigail tried to contain her frustration. "I was pretty sure yesterday, but the longer I go without my things, I'm afraid I can't be absolutely sure." Kitch swallowed nervously as he loosened his tie. Abigail's desk phone rang softly as the light on it began to blink. "If you'll excuse me." Eager to retreat, Kitch backed out of the doorway and added, I'll keep digging into the situation and we'll let you know if I find something." "Thank you. I would appreciate that." Abigail watched as Michael closed the door behind him. Then she pushed the button on the phone. "Yes?" Vera's voice sounded from the other end of the line. "Miss Davies, I wanted to let you know that Mr. Garcia had to cancel his 11 o'clock. Would you like me to reschedule for later this next week?" Tapping the desk with her nails, Abigail answered, "That would be fine, Vera, thank you." Hanging up the phone, she let her gaze shift to one of the tall cabinets lining the wall. Normally, she would be able to walk over there, unlock the third file cabinet, reach into the second drawer, and pull out her box of keepsakes. But thanks to Luke, all she could do now was think about the fact that her things were no longer there. Looking back down at her watch, Abigail shrugged, then reached over, opened her desk drawer, and retrieved her purse. With the cancellation, she had a good 3 hours before her next appointment, and she knew exactly what she was going to do. By the time she got to the university, Luke would be between classes, and that would give her enough time to get some idea of what her ex-lover might be up to. Abigail turned into the long hallway in time to see Luke locking his classroom door. Thankfully, there were only a few students around, and those who remained were departing for their next class. It would not be good for Abigail to be seen with the man she had filed a restraining order against. Fumbling with his keys, Luke missed Abigail as she quietly snuck up on him. Abigail thought, "Really, this is the man that was able to sneak past all the security measures at my facility?" "Hello, Luke." Startled, Luke turned and pinned her with a confused stare. Hello?" Good, he was off balance seeing her here, and that was just where Abigail wanted him. "I don't know why or what you think you're doing, but I can promise you this. You don't want to play games with me." The puzzlement slowly faded from Luke's face and was replaced with a sly smile. "And why is that?" Surprised at Luke's sudden confidence, Abigail altered her strategy slightly. "Look, if you just tell me what you've done with my things, I'll forget this ever happened." "I have a better idea. Why don't you ask the guy you hired to rearrange my apartment to see if he's seen your things? And if not, well then, you can both go screw yourselves." Eyes narrowing, Abigail seethed. "I have no idea what you're talking about." Brushing past her, Luke started for his office. "I'd better go. Last time I checked, there was a restraining order between us. Wouldn't want to be accused of stalking you, even though you're the one that's harassing me at my place of employment." In a huff, Abigail followed, then came up short when Luke got to his office door and turned back to her. "I'm pretty sure the police would be interested to know that you're here. Aren't you?" Abigail cast Luke a cruel smile. "All right. If this is how you want to play, just know I gave you the opportunity to make this right." Abigail turned, ready to walk away, but decided to give Luke a final remark. "Don't blame me when they come to arrest you for the break-in. It's only a matter of time until they find evidence of your involvement." With a flip of her long blonde hair, Abigail turned on her heels and pranced away. From the look of fear that crossed Luke's face at the mentioning of him being arrested, there was no way the guy knew that the evidence she had hoped to hold against him was all but non-existent. Stepping out of the hall into the afternoon sun, Abigail felt her face flush with anger. Sure, she had gotten to Luke, but the victory had been short-lived with the sting of his defiance. In a huff, Abigail slipped her sunglasses on and began a long walk back to her car. Certainly she had not known what to expect from Luke after all this time, but she had never dreamed that he would grow a backbone in her absence, thus making this little adventure of hers a complete and utter waste of time. Mashing the key fob, Abigail unlocked her car door, yanked it open, and got in. Fuming, she sat and stared down at her hands, which were busy strangling the jet black steering wheel. Reluctantly, Abigail released her hold, startled the car, and listened to the low murmur of the engine. It would appear that Luke had regained his will to fight. It was now proposing an all-out war. This fact should have infuriated Abigail further. Instead, she was excited about the possibility of having the professor back in her life, even if it was on these bizarre terms. Putting the car into gear, Abigail took the vehicle out of the college parking lot, around the long circular drive, and found herself back on the main road. A few miles down the highway, Abigail gazed down at the digital clock and brightened. Still enough time to go by her favorite coffee shop. Spotting the familiar sign of a bagel chasing a coffee mug, Abigail pulled into the bustling parking lot. She carefully steered her BMW between two thick painted lines as far away from the building as possible, ensuring that she would be able to get those few extra steps. Killing the engine, Abigail leaned over, reached for her purse, and froze when she saw a figure in her rearview mirror rising up behind her. Too late. Abigail realized that this time the figure was indeed real. A large gloved hand smashed a heavy cloth against her lip as she drew in a startled breath to scream. Heart racing, Abigail took in the smell of chloroform as the edges of her vision faded and turned her sunlit world into night. Clocking in, Martinez spotted his senior partner at his desk, coffee in hand, reading over a stack of fresh papers, as if he had not moved from the night before. "Do you ever go home?" Eyes fixed on the current page he was reading, Rogers motioned at his clean shirt and pants to shower and change clothes. "Glad to hear it. Hope you also throw in a little deodorant on those long stakeouts." Martinez tossed a bag onto Rogers' desk. "Got your burrito." That got Rogers' attention. Tossing the paper aside, he scooped up the snack and began digging at the tinfoil wrap morsel. "Thanks." Tearing into the foil, Rogers smiled as the fluffy white tortilla emerged. Eggs, cheese, potatoes, sausage, bacon, and chorizo? Yep, the heart attack special. Taking a huge bite, Rogers all but purred. Just the way I like it. Stepping out of his office, Peters, the station captain, called to them. "Rogers, Martinez, need you in my office, and bring the Davies file." Giving his burrito a sad look, Rogers set it aside, finished chewing and washed it down with his remaining coffee before starting for the captain's office. Motioning back at his desk, he pointed to the forgotten file. "Anything new on the footage?" Martinez hastily seized the file and chased after Rogers. "Same as before, there's nothing on that tape that will help us find our perp." Gaining on his old partner, Martinez leaned in and whispered, "Why the urgency? It's not like anything important was taken." "Got me," Rogers shrugged. As they stepped into the office, Captain Peters nodded at the detectives. "Close the door behind you and take a seat, gentlemen." Martinez shut the door behind them. Rogers pulled out a chair and made himself comfortable. "What's up, Cap?" Getting straight to the point, Peters asked. "Any leads on the break-in at the enchantment facility?" Rogers elbowed Martinez. Martinez jumped in. "No fingerprints left at the scene, and forensics and I have been over the video with our tech guys several times. But during both our perps' estimated time of arrival and departure, there's no clear or usable footage." Frowning, Peter sat back in his chair. "What about the interviews?" Martinez handed Rogers the file, giving him back the lead. "No one that we or our fellow officers in blue have questioned remembers seeing or talking with anyone who didn't belong." "Shit." Peters rubbed the back of his neck. Confused, Rogers sat up, giving Peters his full attention. "Sir, forgive me for asking, but isn't this pretty low on our priority list?" "Depends on who you ask." Peters fixed Rogers with a knowing look. "But yes, for us, this would normally be considered mundane, or at least it was until about an hour ago." "I don't follow." Getting up from his desk, Peters looked out into the squad room. "I got a call from Kitch, the administrator at the enchantment. Miss Davies was a no-show for work today. And according to her assistant, she didn't make her last scheduled appointment yesterday." "Anyone been over to her place to do a welfare check?" Peters nodded. "Yeah, her assistant had the apartment supervisor let her in. Nothing was out of place. Davies' car was in the garage." Martinez piped in. "Don't we usually wait until someone has been gone for at least 48 hours before we—" Peters cut him off. "Since her office was broken into the other day, we can't rule out foul play. And the higher-ups have ordered us to get on it now." Rogers got to his feet. "Davies must have a hell of a client list." "She does. And lucky you get to lead this investigation. I need you on it ASAP." Rogers forced a pained smile as he got to his feet. "Fantastic. Good thing I already have a place to start." "Oh?" Peters asked. Handing the door, Rogers turned to his captain. "We questioned Miss Davies. She mentioned a former patient of hers, Luke Bolton. Earlier this year, she filed a restraining order against him." "Wait a minute, isn't that the guy from the—" Martinez jumped in. "School shooting last year?" "Yes, sir." Frowning, Peters pointed at the two detectives. "Handle this carefully, Rogers. That man has been through a lot this past year, and many in our community consider him a hero." "I'll be on my best behavior." Rogers headed for the door, followed by Martinez. "Keep me posted," Peters added as he turned his attention back to the files on his desk. "Yes, sir." Rogers left the office without a backward glance, forcing Martinez to close the door and then rush after him. Rogers went to his desk, grabbed his coat, took another bite of his burrito, then motioned for Martinez to follow him outside. Let's go see what our local legend has been up to. Join us soon for Chapter 9.